Yogah Karmasu Kaushalam.
Now let us understand about the MLA style for English and humanities. There are several citation styles such as the Chicago style or MLA, but for languages most scholars prefer MLA citation style both in research papers and dissertations. While writing a paper or a dissertation, one needs to understand two things as far as MLA style is concerned. One is in-text citations and the other is full source citations in the list of references or bibliography. It is essential to understand the mechanism of in-text citations and their representation in the list of bibliography. In-text citations only refer to the last name of the writer and page numbers, and full references are included. The details such as author, the list of source, the title of container, other contributors, version, number, publisher, then publication date and location. All these things are actually covered in the full list that is included in bibliography. In in-text citation, if the writer's name is included in the passage itself, now let us understand about like the nuances of in-text citation for MLA. If the writer's name is included in the passage itself, the bracket at the end of citation will only include page number because we have already included the writer's name in the passage. We can see that, in the following example, as said emphatically stated, whether in the Arab world or elsewhere, 20th century mass society has destroyed identity in so powerful a way that it is worth a great deal to keep the specificity alive. Now, this is a quotation, but in this quotation, the name of the writer is already included, and hence only the page number is included, not the name of the writer. In the second quotation, which begins from the person who finds his homeland sweet, which begins from that and it ends at the entire world is a foreign place. Now this quotation includes, at the end of this quotation, see that the last name of the writer, comma, then the name of the book, which is the shortened version actually, culture, and then page number, and the bracket is over. In the next citation, which begins with whether in the Arab world and it ends with the specificity alive, only the last name and the page number are included in the bracket. So one needs to understand now how to abbreviate the title. As per the MLA style, the title needs to be abbreviated if it is longer than a noun phrase. The shortened or abbreviated title should begin with the word by which it is alphabetized, and that too after excluding articles. In order to understand the concept of abbreviation, it is essential to have a look at some of the examples of abbreviated titles. Now let us see some of the abbreviated titles, and let's see how do we abbreviate them. For example, the title Writers of the Indian Diaspora, then Various Cultures and Variant Readings, Interpreting Indian Diasporic Experience, then the Dialogic Imagination, 4 essays. Now let's see how do we abbreviate them. So first title is abbreviated as Writers. We are including only noun here. Then second title we are abbreviating as Various Cultures. So we are including two things here, noun and preceding adjective. Then we are, for the third title, we are including interpreting only. And for the fourth title, we are including dialogic imagination. So we are omitting article here. So only the noun or the preceding adjective, through which the title is going to be alphabetized, should be kept in the form of abbreviation, and other things can be omitted. So it is clearly seen that either a noun through which the work is alphabetized or a noun preceding an adjective is included in the abbreviated version of titles, and articles are of course excluded. However, if the title is a noun phrase, for instance, then it may not be abbreviated and included in its original form in the in-text citation. Now let us study few new nuances of in-text citation. Now, in-text citation of the work by multiple authors. So if there are two authors, for example, so two authors will be cited as the following way, with the last name and page number without punctuation mark. For example, into bracket Mill and Roti, then page number 34. If the source is authored by three or more authors, then we simply write et al. For example, into bracket Miller et al. ETARAL full stop, then page number 50. So we are including only the first writer. Then citing a prose work. In in-text citation, while citing a modern prose work such as a novel or a play, one needs to add other significant information in the form of abbreviation, such as chapter number or play volume number or act number, section number, etc. For example, you can see that into bracket 29 colon, then chapter is abbreviated as CH, then full stop and page number. So this is how you add clarity to your citation. Then in-text citation, then you see that Mill 30, alright, that is page number, but we can also find that here colon and volume number 3. So this is how you are adding more clarity to your in-text citation. Now citing a verse work. Now the system is slightly different with verse works that have line numbers. Like in this case, one needs to omit the page numbers, particularly in verse form of writing. For example, in act or scene or canto or book part, so these things can be included in the form of verse work, for example poetry or something like that. So let's say in Iliad 7.20, so one can understand that it refers to book number 7 and line number 20 of Homer's Iliad. In the first such citation, one should mention the word line to indicate that numerical item refers to line numbers and not page numbers, that is line 20. So this is how when a poetical form when they do not have page numbers, we need to include the line numbers. Now citations without page numbers. So the citation of the text that does not have a stable or fixed page, for example in ebooks, it requires other details such as chapter number or volume number in the abbreviated form. Now punctuations in in-text citations. A parenthetical citation as per MLA Handbook 8th edition does not involve any punctuation mark. However, in complex situations such as citing multiple sources in a single parenthesis could involve semicolon between the two sources. That is, in this case you can see Taylor 23, then semicolon, then Mill 23. So we have two sources, the same citation taken from two sources. So similarly, citing multiple locations in the same source might involve comma as a separator between multiple page numbers. That is, for example, right, then 23 and 56 and 40. So separation by comma. Now let us understand how to make bibliography. Okay, as per the 8th version, only the most essential information is included in MLA bibliography, and that is the author's name, book title, publisher, and date. The name of city and the medium of publication are omitted in the latest version of MLS Citation. The following is the details of the types of various documents and their full citations in bibliography. So let us see how do we prepare bibliography. A source with a single author. So for example, we if we want to cite a source with a single author, we need to include the last name, comma, then first name, full stop, then the title in italics, and then full stop, and then the name of publication, and comma, and the year of publication. So the entry includes the last name in the beginning. Alright, so we have already discussed this. Now let us think about a source with two authors. So a source with two authors, the difference between the source with one author and two authors is this, that the second author is included in a normal way, that for example the first writer, when you write the name of the first writer, you add the last name first, and then comma, and the first, and then the first name, and then comma. All right, and then you also include the second writer's name, and that you write in a very normal way, that is in a conventional way. For example, you can see that Gaiman, comma, nail, then comma, and then Terry Pratchett, that is the name of the second author, but it is written in a conventional way, and then the title of the book in italics, Good Omens, then full stop, then open praise, the name of the praise, and then the year of publication, full stop, and then so this is how you cite the source with two authors. Now a source with three or more authors. So this is something one needs to understand. When there is a source having more than two authors, or say let's say three authors, then you need to include the name of the first author, and then at the end of the detail of the first name, you need to add the details such as et al, ETAL, then full stop. Then it is understood that the source has more than two writers. So we do not write all the names of the source, we only write the name of the first writer. Now a source with a single editor. Now a source with a single editor, there is only one difference between the source with a single author and a single editor. In a single editor, at the end of the name, for example in this case you see Jane, comma, then Jaspir, the name, at the name of the editor you write in clear editor. Alright, so this is how you differentiate between the author and editor. In the case of author you do not write anything, but in the case of editor you write editor as as a signifying element that shows that this is an edited book. Similar is the case with a source with two or more editors. Okay, again the first name is alphabetized in a reversed order, and then the name of the second editor is mentioned in a normal way, and then at the end of the two names we write editors. So this is how it makes slightly different. So similarly, a source with multiple editors will have similar pattern as that of multiple authors, except the mention of editors after et al. So you can see in this case Schreibman, comma, then Suzanne, then comma, and then et al, full stop, and then editors. Now let us learn about citing a chapter or essay in an edited source. Now how do you source give details of that chapter that is present in the edited book? So we need to include both the writer of the chapter, and we also need to include the detail of the editor. For example, in this source, Parmeshwaran, then comma, and then Uma, full stop, then you have the full title into double inverted comma, and then the title of the book, and then you simply mention after comma edited by Jamila Begum and Maya Dutt, then comma, and then you mention the publication details, including and do not forget to mention the page number of that particular chapter. So this is how you mention the detail of the chapter. Now, citing a translated work. While citing a source that is translated, one needs to decide the focus and importance. When the focus is on the translation, the parenthetical item will begin with the details of the translator. And if the focus is on the original work, it will begin with the original writer. So, if there are more than two translators, the citation style remains the same as that of editors. So it's like in the case of editors and translators, the citation style remains the same. For example, in this case, Dostoevsky, comma, Fyodor, then full stop, then Crime and Punishment, full stop, and then translated by Constance Garnett, comma, then Modern Library, publication detail, and then the year of publication. So the above example emphasizes the original source of the writer, and hence it begins with the details of the source writer. Now the following example changes the focus and begins with the details of the translator. Now which means Garnett, comma, Constance, comma, translator, and then the detail of the title, and then by Fyodor Dostoevsky, that is the name of the writer, and then the publication details, like this. Now let us discuss about citing a research paper or article in a journal. So when we are citing a research paper or an article, we need to include several details about the research paper and the article, the source, like the place from you get it, whether it is hard copy, whether it is available online, etc. So if it is like in a print form, we can see that in the example that there are three writers in this citation: Walsh Powers, comma, Richard. That Walsh Powers refers to a last name, then Richard first name, then comma, and the second writer's name. So we have seen that first writer we write in a reversed form, that is when we include the last name as then the first name, and in the second source, the second writer, we write as it as a very very normal way. For example, Palm Johnson in this case. Then into inverted comma we write the detail of the paper, that is introducing mainstream psychology to native students whose feet are in two vessels. So then in a double inverted comma over, then full stop, and then the name of the journal, the Canadian Journal of Native Studies. This we will do it in italics. Then comma, then volume number 22, then issue number 1, comma, then the year of publication, that is 2002, then comma, and then page number, that is 81 to 98. So it looks very similar to the chapter in a book, but there are certain minor differences here. That is, we include volume number also, we include issue number also, likewise. Now citing online sources. Now in this contemporary era, we know that we get a lot of material, we get a lot of sources, and we then, as a result of this, we need to cite so many things that are available online. But then in the latest edition, that is in the 8th edition, MLA has clarified all the doubts pertaining to how to cite online sources. So let us consider certain examples on online sources. Now, an article published in online journal. So how do we cite it? So similarly, we include the last name, then comma, then the first name. So then the name of the title of the article, then the name of online journal, then volume number, then issue number, and then the year of publication, and then we also include the online source, that is online the website details from which it has been cited, that is you might also call it as URL. So except the addition of online location, other things more or less remain the same. Now a research paper available on Gesture or Project Muse. As we know that there are so many research papers and dissertations that are available on Gesture and Project Muse. So in order to cite them, we need to include again the similar things, all the details of the writer, then the title, then the name of the journal, then towards the end we add the details of the gesture, that is online location of that research paper. So apart from that, all the other things remain the same, that that are that is already there in the common any print journal. We simply add the online location of that specific journal, or whether it is gesture. In this case it is simply gesture. It is simply collects multiple resources together, so we need to add the online location of that particular journal. Similar is the case with articles available on other platforms, that is Project Muse. So we simply need to add at the end of the citation the source, the online source, whether it is Gestor or it is the Project Muse. Now, citing an article posted on website. So there are certain articles that are simply available on website. So how do we do that? So for example, again, all the details such as the name of the writer, then the name of the title, then into inverted comma, and then the name of the website, that is, for example, in this case it is Literary Hub, then the date on which it was published, so August 9 2019, and then the URL details. Now let us learn about short or untitled content from online social media, for example Twitter or Facebook. So how do we cite them? So I would like to show you the sample here. You can see here at the rate. This is a citation taken from an online social media. So you can see here at the rate Narendra Modi, which is the username. Here username is considered as the name of the writer. So here you see that at the rate Narendra Modi, then full stop, then into double inverted comma the entire statement that that he has made, and then towards the end full stop, and then you see that the online location is mentioned, and this is Twitter, comma 8 August 2019, which means that on Twitter on 8 August 2019 this was the tweet that had been made by the Prime Minister. And we also include the time, for example that he made this statement at 9 and 16 a.m. And then towards the end we also add the online location, that is twitter.com, and the other source of the online location. Now, citing a website, say for example if you've taken something from a website, so how to cite a website? So while citing a website you need to include the following details. Here you can see Stanford, then full stop, then Stanford and Encyclopedia of Philosophy, then full stop, then the year of publication 2019, then comma, and the complete detail of the websites. So websites are often published by various kinds of organizations, individuals, and libraries and universities. So the publishers, the owner of the website is included in the way the writer is included in the websites are published by various kinds of organizations, individuals, libraries, and universities. So we need to include those details as well. Now let us learn how to cite an ebook and Kindle edition. Okay, look at an example. So here you see in the example Wells HG, the name of the writer, then a short history of the world, and then you mention ebook, that suggests an ebook, this is not a print book, then Project Gutenberg, from which it is downloaded, and then the year of publication 1922. So this is how we can also cite an online citation. We can give credit like this also. In the above example we saw that Project Gutenberg is the place that hosts online books, and hence it is included in citation. To sum up this point, it is necessary to point out that online locations are sometimes dynamic and it might change in future. To avoid this, one should prefer DOI, that is digital object identifier, wherever available. In absence of this, one can use URLs as last options.